welcome back to my channel. Vlogsters, look. I got hot coffee and I'm laying down and I figured out how to do it. I got these silicone straws. They work really great with hot beverages. Jimmy gave me his cup because he said, I wanted to get like my Tervis cup that has platform 9 3/4 on it. And he's like, that was been sitting on the table since the other day. And I was like, ick, gross, really? Like if I'm not out there, nobody's cleaning, come on. And then I said, well, where's my friend's cup like that? And he goes, I think I saw it in the car. I'm like, dude. I'm just kidding. He has been doing so much. I just thought it was really funny because I was like, why are you bringing this? The only thing I don't like about this is way more insulated. So this coffee is going to stay hot a really long time. And if you're like me, let me take these off. If you might be like me and you like multiple types of temperature of coffee. I like my coffee to start hot, but I really like to drink like cool or room temperature coffee by the end. So then when I get that second cup, I'm like, whoo, that's hot coffee. Good morning, Vlogsters. Hi. Oh gosh. I feel like I have to connect with you because I have no content on my main page. I can't, I'm done with all my old footage. Not all my old footage. I have a couple of different things I'm trying to put together. I wanted to say something real quick I just wanted to address some questions that we had in the comments is really what I was going to start this video out today. But one of the things was a very dear, sweet friend who's been so supportive over all this time was just really concerned that me just laying here is, I'm going to end up being like the women on my 500-pound life. But I want to show you something. I'm really like kind of the opposite. I'm kind of wasting away. I'm hardly taking in any calories. I do have to eat with my medicine, but laying down for me personally is not a position that I enjoy eating at. So for example, I'll tell you what I eat in a day. Most days, what I eat in a day is, may or may not have coffee. This is only the second time. Well, it's the third time I've had coffee, but the second time I've had successful coffee. This is only the second cup of coffee I've had in a week. So today is Sunday. This all started really last Saturday night. So this is this like 1 week morning, like anniversary or whatever. So this, in that whole time, this is only the second time I've had coffee. The first time I actually had coffee was last Sunday morning. And it really sat here because I couldn't drink it. And then we decided Jimmy's like, I'll just drink it. Do you want a coffee protein shake instead? And I was like, yes, please. My beautiful friend, Miss K, she sent me 2 boxes of the cafe latte by Premier Protein. And I love them. Oh, cold or like right out of the box. It's so weird. Not everybody likes protein shakes. And honestly, there's all of these great TikTok recipes where you actually take your hot coffee, add the Premier Protein shake and creamer, like a sugar-free creamer, and it's like going crazy. And honestly, if that's what you need to do that. You know what I mean? Like whatever you could do to get your protein in. But these have like 1 gram of sugar or 1 net carb, one or the other, and 18 grams of protein. So they're good. They're a base for me to keep my medicine. I have to eat when I take my morning meds and night meds. So I have to eat at least twice a day, even if it's just something to put in my belly. So normally if I'll have a Premier Protein shake or maybe like a protein bar. I can find eating those laying down is really good. I have the ones from Aldi, which are 3 to 4 net carbs. And roughly all of those, I feel like all that stuff is roughly around like 200 to 300 calories. So I'm definitely in a calorie deficit. I am moving, so there is that. I'm not moving like, I'm not running a marathon or I'm not jogging to the store, but the other thing is I am moving. So people was concerned about me like just sitting here gaining weight. I wanted to reassure you that the opposite is kind of happening. I have my jar of peanut butter here, and sometimes at night, if I don't feel like I can eat dinner, I'll just grab that giant spoonful of peanut butter and slowly like take that down so I can have my night meds. And then I can do ice cream, like keto ice cream. I can have that in bed because it's like, you don't really have to like chew, like I chew it like peanut butter. You don't have to like you don't have like meat that you have to like chew and digest. You know, like I feel like chunky meat has to go straight up and down your digestive system. But there also was 3 days this week that I was able to sit up and eat dinner, which was really good. Jimmy made his chicken. I think I told you guys already. He made his Nordic chicken salad, which I actually was able to sit up while I was talking to Sharon. I mentioned it the other day. He also then made his roast beef quinoa salad, which I don't know which one I like the best, but there was no more roast beef quinoa salad. I was like, how? I don't think he doubled the recipe because usually we have that left over and he doesn't like to like have that left over. So I have a feeling he didn't double the recipe. And then last night I said to him, I'm like, he was going out to Walmart to pick up some more of the medicated cream. And I said, is there anything that you, and it was supposed to be like a fend for yourself nice. He was like, I could just make us kibasi or whatever. And I was like, yeah, but is there anything like, I just wanted a grilled chicken breast. And actually the Nordic chicken salad, when he just fries the chicken, we had some of the salad left, just not any of the chicken. So I was like thinking, if you could just buy like even like a microwave grilled chicken breast, I can just cut it up and put it in that salad. I can try to eat that. And then he immediately he's like, well, I could stop at Dickie's because Dickie's has his favorite marinated chicken, like smoked marinated chicken. He loves it. And it is so moist and tender that I actually was able to eat it semi-laying down. Kind of like I am now, like up on my elbow, but on my left side because that's better for digestion. And because yesterday was a rough day. I didn't vlog yesterday. But yesterday was kind of a rough day. I was kind of thinking because I had done so much the day before, I'd sat up and ate and, you know, we did this and did that. And I was trying to like really move. And then yesterday was just like, nope. I didn't feel like eating anything. Nope. I had a shake for breakfast. Usually the protein shakes don't take me very long to drink. Either I can really guzzle them because they're only, I think they get like 12 ounces or something. Either I like guzzle them right away and then just be satisfied for a long while. Or, I take 3 or 4 sips out of a straw with them. But this one lasted me like a good half hour because I just wasn't feeling good to eat. And I'm not depressed. It's just that laying down doesn't really do it for me. Like my digestive system doesn't appreciate laying down. So those things to consider, of course. I'm chewing a lot of gum, and not to satiate my jaw power, but I am finding that no matter how much water I drink these days, I feel like I'm getting like dry mouth. I know it's allergy season. I can feel it all, not allergy season. I know I'm having allergy problems because I can feel it all in here, in my lower sinus here. So I think that's what's causing it. I'm breathing more out of my mouth than my nose. So I've just been chewing gum to keep my mouth moist. I also have sugar-free lemon heads, which are pretty awesome, to be honest. And that also helps. Like when I had suffered from dehydration, that's what the doctor had suggested, just getting some lemon sucking candy. Let's see. Okay, so the one issue was about my weight. I really want guys to really know that I'm good in that area. The second thing is moving. So one of the questions that I got was, I have to just get up and move. And honestly, yes and no. Okay. The reason I say this, and I mentioned it in the comment back, I commented back. One of the reasons I said this is because I have help. And as long as my help will hold out willingly, I don't have to get up. I do have to get up to go to the bathroom. I do have to get up to change my clothes. I do have to get up to do X, Y, and Z, but I don't have to get up. And the reason I say that is because currently, when not knowing what it is that I'm suffering from, or that's the problem, I really don't want to make it worse. So if I just say, for example, and I don't know this, I'm not self-diagnosing. Please stop saying that I'm self-diagnosing everything. The only thing I ever self-diagnosed on myself was the fibromyalgia. And it was back in the time where fibromyalgia didn't have tests. They just had like a diagnosis of elimination type of thing. But every time I went to go ask to get tested for it, doctors in the past have always just said it's your diabetic neuropathy. So that's why I've self-diagnosed fibromyalgia. Everything else has been diagnosed by a doctor, so it's not like I'm not self-diagnosing myself. But one of the things that could be wrong, and there could also be like tons of things, but one of the things that could be wrong is if I do have like a small fracture or I'm bone on bone, by moving more without treatment will make it worse. I mean, it can make it worse, but there's a good possibility, there's a high chance, a high percentage that it will make it worse by moving on it more. Not just about the pain, because here's what I'm trying to say to you guys. I have lived with chronic pain forever, and I know that this pain is more pain than the chronic pain that I live with on a daily basis, but I move in pain. I've been moving in pain for like 20 years. So I understand that I have to move with pain. But this particular thing, not knowing what it is, and those pains, I always knew what they were. You have arthritis. You have to keep moving, or the arthritis will just get worse and worse. And that's why we do what we do. But this particular possibly injury, I don't know what it is yet. So until I can get a diagnosis, I'm trying to be off of it the best I can. I'm trying to treat my body the best way I know how. But like I said, while I have help and my help is willing and still holding out, I'm sorry, I thought that was him. I'm going to utilize that to prevent further damaging my joint. I also wanted to reassure you that I am moving. I do leg lifts. I'm almost completely doing I have full range of motion in everywhere. Like I said this morning, I woke up and my shoulder hurt, but I think it's really like I'm 51 and I laid on it wrong. That's really what I mean. Like I think the pillow was in the wrong position when I fell asleep this morning. Fell back to sleep this morning. That's another thing I'll tell you guys about. But no, normally, I've got full range of motion, everything. I'm moving everything. I'm doing what I can do. Excuse me. It's just walking. Now I do stand. I take a few steps here and there, but when I do, I use the walker and I give myself I relieve I don't put any pressure on the leg, or hardly put any pressure on the leg. Again, until I can get a diagnosis and know what it is, it's best that I try not to exacerbate it. Thank you. So that's the second I gotta move thing. Now, one thing I discovered just this morning, just in the middle of the night last night, was if I need to reposition in bed. So I think you guys, if you watch Jimmy's channel, and I've told you about it too, sorry, I got an itch. Sorry about that. If you watch Jimmy's channel, and I think I mentioned it too, Jim set up the couch like a bed in case he had to, in case I needed him to move in the middle of the night, if I needed to roll over on him. But I realized this morning, it isn't about rolling over. It's about laying on my left side. Excuse me, let me get some more coffee. How does he make the coffee so good? So what I did this morning is I sat up, I scooched my booty over as far to the headboard as I could, and I put my pillows down there, and I just rolled over on my left side. So I didn't have to disturb him at all. And it was good. I was able to sleep for like another good hour. So that was like a new discovery. The other discovery I found was I've been having all like these, during the last week, I had all these like little pinpoint pressure things that have been bothering me. And I'll ask him, I'm like, is there something there? He's like, well, you have a big indent from your like nightgown. Oh yeah, because when I roll over, then the nightgown bunches up, or the pajamas bunch up, or whatever. So what I realized this morning is it's actually kind of better for me to get up and get back in bed. First of all, it does help me get up. I'm like keeping that motion going. I said, but I can also lay in the position that I need to be at the moment, because I am like, I've spent enough time in a hospital setting and with people with disabilities where we've always had to, not always, but there have been individuals that we've had to do like they have to have the clock where you have to rotate them every half an hour, just to keep from pressure points on there or whatever. So I just want you to know I'm a smart girl. I haven't been doing this. I've been moving, making sure that's not 20 hours on my right side and then 2 hours on that. That's not good. So when I need to reposition myself, I found it last night. I found out it was easier to get up, to adjust myself, and then get back into bed in the position that I need to be, which also was helpful because when I roll over, I have to really invade that side. But when I sit down and get over, I don't have to invade him that much. What we discovered, and I was able to have him do it without waking him up, is I just say, Jimmy, roll on your side. And he rolls on his side. And that gives me just enough room to get in without disturbing him. I know that sounds dumb. I disturb him to get in without disturbing him. But gently waking somebody up to roll over, like if your husband snores, you know what I'm talking about? As opposed to not plopping, but getting into the bed and potentially hitting them with your head or something. That would be like disturbing. It would be like startling. So we discovered that last night, and it seemed to work pretty good. He slept really well. We discovered, so this is a firmer mattress than the one that we had gotten and returned from, well, not returned, but got from QVC. And it was actually ended up being a little too firm for him. But this box spring is adjustable in its firmness. This platform, is adjustable in its firmness. So I said to him, I'm like, well, you sleep better on a softer mattress. Why don't you adjust your slats so that you have a softer bed frame? And he did that yesterday. He only did it halfway for first, and he slept really much better last night. A lot less pain this morning, all these things. So I was like, really good. And yesterday we had a really great talk. I felt really connected to him for the first time in a while. It just seemed like, we were doing our own thing. And I mentioned to him about like the mindset of being a caretaker. You have a mindset of being a caretaker, but what has to come first is that you're my husband. You're my husband who's helping me out. You're not my caretaker who also loves me. So I won't get into that right now. I'm sorry I just brought that up, actually, because I wanted to really address the questions. But we had a really good day yesterday, and I don't know if it's because we had a really good day yesterday or the fact that he slept really well in his newly softened mattress bed frame that actually helped with his pain. So I discovered the repositioning, and okay. So I've been getting up to do that. That's actually better to keep getting up, but I'm not sure if it is, but I'm doing it, so whatever. Whatever. I'm just thinking of other questions. Oh, okay, so I know I mentioned it in the vlog the other day, but I feel like it went over lots of people's heads. I'm not afraid to go to the doctor. I've never been afraid to go to the doctor. I don't like going to the doctor. I get white coat syndrome. I'm not used to going to the doctor for myself because as a caretaker, you spend your whole life as a caretaker. You're always taking someone else to the doctor. But I like to feel good. And I know that we talked about this for years about me living with the arthritis and wanting to get treatment for arthritis because I couldn't find a good doctor in town that took my insurance, and I finally did. I finally got new insurance and I found a good doctor, and we're on like the same path for treatment. Like this is what we have to take care of, which I love. What I don't love is the lack of communication over the last week. I will tell you, I don't know that it's her. She says her staff usually takes care of the communications, so I don't know what's going on, but it's very disheartening. So one of the things Jim and I talked about yesterday, he keeps threatening to just like take me and throw me in their lobby or whatever. And I was like, well, you really don't have to go to that extreme yet, but you could drive down to the office and say, I really need to speak to somebody about my wife. She's left these messages and nobody's gotten back to her and she's in pain or whatever. So I was like, Jim's a very black and white guy. We've talked about that a lot. I was like, there's a lot of different things you can do in the middle of there. Besides just taking care of me or throwing me on someone else's doorstep. So, he thinks he might try to do that tomorrow. He does have to, it's out of his comfort zone. It's out of his wheelhouse. So he's definitely going to have to like prepare himself. He also doesn't like confrontation. Most people with ADHD don't like confrontation. I don't either. I tell him every time I get into confrontation with somebody at work, I would like cry because I'm a Cancer and an ADO, but it's terrible. Anyhow. Oh, maybe I self-diagnosed my ADHD. Well, I don't take medicine for my ADHD, but I'm actually learning what the symptoms are and the fact that women, especially women in my generation, and of my type of ADD, were so underdiagnosed that it's very possible I have every single symptom so far that I've heard of that is neurodivergent with ADD, then that I have it, like kind of thing. And ADHD, so like we heard ADHD when we were younger, we always thought hyperactive kids. But what I'm learning now is it's a hyperactive thought process. It's not just hyperactive. It's not just a physical hyperactivity. They've started referring to also as the hyperactive focus, the hyperactive mind. I definitely have that. But anyhow, so that I self-diagnosed that too. But it's one of those things, like you go to the doctor and you want to ask about all these things, but then you're like, we prioritize what's the most important. I've lived 51 years with possibly having ADHD. I'm okay to keep going for a little while longer. And without like medication or treating it, because that's not the priority. The priority is to fix the body. Fix the body and then we'll worry about the rest. Or fix what's most important in the body right now. So, let's see. That was that question. Trying to remember. I should have written them down. But I don't have any place to write them down. Okay, one of the concerns. Oh, so I did mention the other day about the ER. So not only which some people have a hard time believing that my doctor said that he didn't want me to go to the ER. He wanted me to go back to my primary. And that he couldn't see me for 2 weeks. A lot of people had a hard time believing that. Now, here's the truth. I mean, it is the truth, but here's what I wanted to say about that. Because COVID and the Delta variant COVID are on the rise in the area, they don't just want to keep me out of the hospital to keep me safe. They also want to keep me out of the hospital to not overwhelm the hospital. If there isn't anything the hospital can do except give me a shot and send me home, the doctor can do me that too. So there is that. However, we've talked about limited resources, and I mentioned it in the comments. I've commented back to the person who mentioned it. I don't live where I used to live. Where I used to live was a town so small, it didn't even have a high school. But there were multiple primary care physicians in the area. And we were 6 minutes away from a hospital in one direction and 9 minutes away from a hospital in the other direction. And they were good hospitals. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not, I don't have the same conveniences of somebody who lives in a suburb or a city or even a bigger town in a more populated area. I do live in a city. This is the county seat, but it's, for all intents and purposes, it's rural. It is completely surrounded by rural areas. We are an hour and 15 to an hour and a half away from the major cities. Now, I say that because it is only 57 miles to Jeff City, but it's like a long and windy 45, 35, 65, 45, 50 like kind of road. So it takes you just as long to get to Jeff City as it does to get to St. Louis or Springfield on the interstate. So there's that. I mean, that is definitely a key factor. We have a hospital here, but they're not a specialist. They're not affiliated with the clinic I go to. But that's the ER they want to keep me out of because of their being inundated with COVID patients. So there's that to consider. Whether or not you politicize COVID or politicize the treatment or politicize whatever's going on. It's a real deal. I mean, I'm, from from firsthand personal experience, it's a real deal. That really does. It does kill. It has long-term effects, disabling. So even those that survive, they don't always survive. I have a friend who had like not a mild case, but like a respiratory case where it wasn't like she had to get intubated or anything. But she has like this never-ending cough now. And it's like, oh yeah, that's the COVID cough. And you're like, oh, this is going to be for the rest of your life. You're going to have to cough like this. So it's just sort of like, you don't realize, like if you don't know firsthand, then you don't realize. If you don't have somebody immediately surrounding you, you don't realize it. And if you listen to like all different sources of information, except for the actual like scientists, you don't realize, like you just get, it gets muddled in your head. So it's a real thing, and it's really not something to be messed with. And yes, I'm in pain, but I'm not dying. Currently, I mean, I guess every day we all are a little bit, but I'm not currently dying. I'm not currently incapable of ambulating to the toilet or eating. Like none of that's, I'm not there or whatever. And if I ever got to that point, then obviously that would be it. You have to go to the emergency room. But I take my blood pressure and pulse ox twice a day, just because of the sedentary bed situation. I'm keeping up on my medication regimen. I am moving as much as possible, whenever possible. Another thing that was mentioned was blood clots. And for those of you who don't know, my brother had COVID in February, and we had an accident back in 1999, and he, over the course of a few years, over the course of like 20 years, he had gotten multiple, less than 20 years actually, but you know what I'm saying? He had multiple times where he had blood clotting issues from the car accident. Plus, he was a computer genius, so he spent a lot of his time sitting down. So, getting COVID for him, people who have COVID a lot of times have blood clotting issues after even recovering from it. That's what he died from. So he had a history of blood clots. It was exacerbated by the COVID infection, which caused him to have the PE, with the pulmonary embolism. So I am really always keep myself quite aware of blood clotting. When I take those long road trips, I'm constantly moving in my seat. I'm constantly moving my legs. I use my cruise control so I can flex and bend and twist and turn. Like I don't keep my foot just there on the gas, If I didn't have cruise control, I don't know that I would probably have to stop more often. But as it is, I stop every like 200 miles or 2 hours. 200 miles is about 2.5 hours, 2 hours, depends, just to get up and move around because it's important. But the same thing for this. I'm making sure that I am constantly moving my feet to keep my circulation going, my legs. Is it the same as walking? No, it's not, but it's better than just laying here. So I'm very concerned about blood clotting as well, obviously. So I want you guys to think, to consider that as well. I am doing whatever I can. Like I said, we do exercising, we do leg lifts. The leg lifts, the lateral leg lift is kind of like, or the butterfly leg lift is kind of like the hardest because it does hurt my right hip, even if I try to lift my left leg. So my left leg can, but it does is it's putting pressure on my right. I don't know, like if my pelvis is stretching, I'm not really sure exactly what's happening. But yeah, so I'm doing all of, bed exercises, hand raises and elbows and reach back. And, I'm trying to keep healthy while I'm trying to get better. So I don't know that I didn't mean to scare anybody with my first video because honestly, when I posted it, it was scary times. I didn't know. It was Tuesday. I think I posted it Tuesday. I think I made it Tuesday. And I was only 2 days into it where I was like, okay, so now the orthopedist, and it was all new to me still. But today, after like a week, I'm not that I'm an expert in being bedridden. And that's another thing that was brought into it. I have no intentions, zero intentions of being bedridden for the rest of my life. Now, that's not to say if I ever had to be, I would not embrace it, or not embrace it's not the right word, or accept it. But that's not my intent. This isn't living. I want you to know that. So, and if I didn't see a light at the end of the tunnel, or if I didn't see that there is a stopping point to this, I wouldn't lay here for 2 weeks. I would do something about it. But the fact that I know that I have an appointment at least a week away, like at least I have an appointment, even if it's like, so I'm looking at this as a very temporary situation. So I don't want anybody to think that this is my life for now. This is hardly a life, first of all. And again, no diss to anybody who has to be bedridden, but this is not a life for me. I have very little interaction with people other than my husband, who in our discussion yesterday, I realized he's not really here with me. So Mom came to visit the other day. She sat with me for about a half an hour just to catch up, which I thought was really sweet. He doesn't talk to her like I don't know, like I think he is. And she didn't even know that I was waiting, that I had an appointment with the orthopedist and I was waiting for the appointment date. She thought I was still waiting to find an orthopedist close by. So I didn't know he wasn't updating her on everything, But anyhow, let's see. I feel like there's other questions. Then I get a lot of stuff that has nothing to do with my particular problem, like the current problem. I'll vlog about this current situation, and then I'll hear stuff about people and me and the hoarding and stuff. I'm done with that already. I have to tell you the truth. I'm not trying to be hateful. I never am trying to be hateful. But that's why I feel like you're trying to be hateful. So if I see the word hoarding in a comment, you're getting deleted. And actually, technically, you're getting blocked. It's easier for me to stop you from posting on my videos than it is for me to go and delete the posts of yours that I don't like. If I stop you from posting on my videos, hide the user, it says, then we won't see what you're saying. So a lot of people get on there where they're like, oh, if they don't like what we're saying, if we don't agree with them, they just delete it. No, there's a lot of people's comments that I don't agree with. And we talk about it, we discuss it, but they say it in a way that is not derogatory. And that's a huge part of it. It's a huge part of it. I can tell when somebody's giving me tough love, or if somebody is actually just being excuse my expression, if somebody's just being a bitch or an asshole. I can tell. I'm 51. I grew up on Long Island. I'm very, very, very aware of how to read people and listen to their words. And I don't even read anything into it. One of the things I will tell you that reminded me of that is we've had, when text messaging first came out, my friends would say like, oh, he said this to me. And I was like, well, why are you putting inflection in it? You don't know that he was putting inflection in his text. Well, that's how I read it. Well, that's on you then. So if somebody said, if somebody texted, all right, comma, I'll be there in 10 minutes. And whether or not you know the person and you know that the person has sarcasm or attitude or whatever, you can't read into it what he meant at that time. Did he mean, all right, I'll be there in 10 minutes? Or did he mean, oh, all right, okay. All right, I'll be there in 10 minutes. So, you know what I mean? So I tell my friends, stop putting inflection into people's text messages because you don't know what their tone is. But when you put it in all caps and you say nasty words and you make nasty comments, yeah, I'm going to remove you. Because if you have a problem in your life, my platform is not a place for you to come and vent on it. Listen, get a camera, Turn your phone around. You don't even have to record yourself, just your voice. And honestly, with platforms like TikTok and stuff, you don't even have to record your voice. You type it on there, and the voice generator, like, she speaks what you're trying to say. If you really have a problem with your life, go vent it somewhere on your own platform. I love the interaction with you guys, but when it's about just you giving me your crap opinion on my life, you've got to go. I mean, honestly, you do. And I think that I feel like one was just recently where I actually, like, it was a person that doesn't normally give me negative comments who said something sort of negatively, and I wasn't sure if it was like a bandwagon situation, because let me tell you something. When the bandwagon starts, you can tell that the person who made the first nasty comment did not watch the whole video, did not watch the video in general, or just started to watch, like, or, you know, like, just started in on what they think my life is about. And I would just, like, okay. And then the bandwagon kick continues, and they start bringing up stuff from, like, ages ago. And you're like, okay, well, first of all, here's the thing. If you are going to only focus on someone's past. So I'm not saying you forget the past. You forgive and forget. I'm not saying you have to forget. If you're the kind of person who really needs to protect yourself by not holding on, but to remembering the things that happened, so that, you know, like, what do they say? History, those who don't learn from history are doomed to repeat it. If you're the kind of person who needs to hold on to the history so that you don't repeat it, I understand that. But you also have to, in those instances, and with me, you have to look at what's happening today. You have to look at what's happening today. Like, people are accusing me of hoarding, and I've just purged, like, so much stuff from my house, and you're still accusing me of hoarding. Like, what do you want from me? Like, what? First of all, I don't have to answer to you, and I don't have to have my home the way you like it. But what more do you want me to do? Do you want me to live into an empty shoebox? Like, I don't understand. Like, it's just, to me, it's like, just, I don't understand. So I feel like that those particular instances, they're just focusing on what they had remembered of me, or the image that they already have of me, not any improvements that I've made. People have called me out on how I treat Jim plenty of times. And of course, nobody really understands our relationship off camera, because we don't share every moment of our lives. But Jim and I have come to a place where we were like, we have communication issues. We have had worse communication issues. So the communication issues have improved, but they're still there. You know, like, we still have issues. I don't always know exactly how to react to what he's going to say, especially on camera, because he can sometimes say things that I deem inappropriate from my channel. So I might get scared, or I might shut him down, because I don't know that my platform is a place for him to express those feelings. So that's not me being mean to him. That's just me, like, censoring my channel to have the content that I want. But I don't, like, you know, people think I'm so mean to him because they think I boss him around, and I don't know what to tell you. I really don't, because that's your opinion. Does he feel like that sometimes? Yes. And I feel like that you guys make it worse for him, because he did feel like that before you guys got involved. Now, yes, sometimes it takes somebody to point out that they're being abused. I'm using abuse in air quotes, because I shouldn't. Sometimes people need to be pointed out when they're being abused to recognize it. But we talked about it, and I'm like, do you really feel that way? Or is that the way, is that something new? And he's like, well, not really, but, you know, I do feel like sometimes you're taking advantage. And I get upset, because I'm like, I never wanted to do that. Like, I never want to make you feel like I'm taking advantage of you. No. I was like, and then I would have to remind him of our history, not how people are, not how society is, but us. And I would say to him, in, like, you know, before 2016, or actually it was after I started YouTube, it really got bad. So maybe 2018, I was like, before 2018, what all did you have to do for me? And yeah, no, I know, Jer, I know. Yeah, but so then why do you think all of a sudden that I just want to become an abuser or whatever? Like, why, what do you think I had, like a flip of the switch or whatever? Or is it just that now I need you more? So I don't necessarily think that I always treat him perfect all the time. That would be naive of me to say, and ignorant, and kind of like prideful and boastful. I would do that. Of course, nobody's perfect all the time. And if I leave a non-perfect moment on the camera, it's not to show you how I treat my husband. It's more about like, I show you that I'm imperfect. Especially during the beginning of this week when I was in so much pain and didn't realize how I needed to move properly to not hurt myself. It was hard because I would get so much pain that I would just have the shortest fuse. And I would just be so apologetic for the way I talked to him. And I would immediately apologetic, because when you're in pain, you can't always help what comes out of your mouth. You can't. You can sometimes when you're in a little bit of pain. I mean, again, I've been living with pain for 20 years, even like 30 years. I was going to say, before I met my husband, I was in chronic pain. But I didn't know. I don't have treated him like this. He would never have married me if I was always like this. But I know you can live with it. I know that you can talk about it. I know that I know what's appropriate and what's inappropriate, and I do always try to apologize to him immediately if I feel like I've stepped outside or I couldn't control myself or I said things that I didn't mean. I always try to apologize immediately. So there is that. I'm going to put you guys on hold for a second.